Good morning, friend. It is mid-July. It is early. I wanted to get out here and do a full garden tour before the sun gets up too high and we get, one, it's too hot, and two, it's too bright to show you everything in detail. We have been out of town for a week. We just got home. I have not been out in the garden yet. I've been up on the patio and had a sneak peek what these green stalks look like, but I wanted to wait to get out into the garden with you all to see what has changed. It is amazing what can change in a week. So first, since we're up here, let me go ahead and show you the green stalks. This one in particular is blowing my mind. This one is a new experiment to me this year. This is Impatience. I got a 6-pack. I think it was $4.99 or $3.99 for a 6-pack. This is a, let me see, 7-tier, so I had to get 7 6-packs, and look at how this thing has just filled out incredibly beautifully. I am blown away. Next year, I probably will do this again, but I would like to do white and pink just to add a little bit more contrast. The one thing about Impatience is they do drop petals, so I have to sweep them, but that's a week worth of petals, so it's not actually that bad. And I am just blown away. I wasn't sure if it was going to fill out because it did take a little bit of time, but it's looking incredible. Over here, we have our Calibrachoa ones, and my Calibrachoa are definitely looking like they could use some food. When we were gone for a week, I had a neighbor who came and took care of my green stalks and my hanging baskets. And I think I planted here the wrong kind of nasturtiums. I thought I was planting a bushing variety because I have green beans in here and I wanted just a small bushing variety, but I think this is obviously the trailing variety. So in my labeling, I got mixed up. But I can tell that my green stalks need a little bit of food. But this is a pepper green stalk. And look at all these peppers on here. This one is looking beautiful. So this afternoon, after we do a full tour, I'm gonna get out here and feed all of these green stalks. This is petunias, and I can tell after a week of not deadheading, I need to get out here and deadhead and feed them, give them a little bit more life. So I don't think I will do the green beans and nasturtiums next year because at least that variety, because they're kind of taking over a little bit. But what I've been loving is we ate dinner out here last night and the hummingbirds and butterflies have set in, and we just watched hummingbird after hummingbird after butterfly eat on these flowers, and it's just been super fun. So this is another green stalk. Again, I think I put the wrong variety of nasturtiums in here. These were only supposed to get about 10 inches max, and these are getting huge. So they're kind of out competing my peppers, but I'm still getting some decent sized peppers on here. And I still think it's pretty. So this is also showing me signs that this planter needs to be fed. So I'll do that this afternoon. Something I wanted to show you up here. Now, this hanging basket, I started myself with you guys. I just repurposed a hanging basket I already had, and I put 4 petunias in it. The 2 colorful ones were ones that I purchased that were already grown out. And I like the one I started just as much as the ones I purchased already pre-started. I think next year I am gonna go ahead and just start my own hanging baskets because it was more than half the cost for me to repurpose that hanging basket and buy 4 petunia pots and start my own. So that's kind of a fun experiment that is working out in my favor. I just grabbed a basket because I'm hoping there are going to be some fun things to harvest in the garden. Again, I have not been out there in over a week, and the dogs are coming out here with me this morning. I did want to say that we're gonna end with a chick update, but I wanna get out here before it gets too bright and too hot. So that's why we're gonna end with the chick update. I cannot believe how much they've grown in a week. And something fun right here is that my favorite dahlia that I transplanted right next to my rhubarb has survived and started blooming. I'm gonna come and deadhead these because those are kind of spent, but look at this one. How pretty is that? We're gonna have a lot more blooms on this dahlia. The flowers are one thing that I cannot wait to see how they have exploded. When we left, we only had, I think, 2 zinnia blooms, and I'm thinking we're gonna have a lot more at this point. Look at this. These are all dahlias. We started from seed not this year, but the year before. And at this point, we have hundreds of blooms. I also put in here for the first time cosmos, which looks like they are finally blooming. I probably should come out here and do some deadheading. So while we're out here, I am going to see what kind of chores need to be done. Oh, these cosmos have started to bloom. That one has got one bloom on it. And we are going to, oh my goodness. I'm so excited I waited to come out here with you all because I'm just gonna be blown away by how things have changed. So let's just start right here. Here we have a variety of drying bean, or you can eat it as a green bean, and they're starting to trail up the vine. These are, we've got some flowers here. This is a rattlesnake pole bean, and it's starting to fill out and look absolutely beautiful. And out of the corner of my eye, in this bed, I just saw some tomatoes that I think we can okay, I just saw a zucchini that we can harvest. So let's just go in the same order that I went last time. So we're gonna start here. This is a pumpkin. This is a mini pumpkin that I put in this corner that's hopefully gonna trail out here and produce some decorative pumpkins. This is Rebecca, and I cannot believe how many buds are on this. This kept getting eaten down by a bunny. I have about 5 or 6 bunnies that are in here every single day. There's nothing I can do about it. I cannot put bunny fencing around this entire fence. And it looks like this Rebecca is winning that fight. We have onions down here that are looking really nice. We're actually getting good size to them. They're actually bulbing up. We started these onions together, I think in January. I didn't think they were gonna make it, but it looks like they're doing quite well. We have our first straw flower bloom. These are one of my favorite flowers. They're so pretty. I really need to get out here and put some trellising system on these Roma tomato plants. And look at this. Come on, you need to go over there. We've got another straw flower bloom, and we've got our first Roma tomato babies here. I need to prune all of this, obviously. I did get out here and prune everything before we left. Another succession of lettuce. So we'll probably be eating on this week. More straw flowers, more Rebecca, and nasturtiums. I think I've done about 4 or 5 successions of lettuce, and so that is one that's just about ready. We are now getting into summer heat around here. I think it's supposed to be high 80s, low 90s this week. Now we're at this second bed, and this is what I saw out of the corner of my eye. So this is our first zucchini. I will still eat this. This probably should have been harvested a week ago, but that's okay. I will probably harvest that one in a day or two. And it looks like we have some here that did not get pollinated, so I'm gonna pull those. And I'm probably gonna prune this zucchini plant tomorrow. But look at this over here. So over here, these right here are our first tomatoes. This variety is called citrine orange. So these are supposed to be orange. Look at that. Now in here, we have a black bean, bush bean variety that has gone bananas. Lots more tomatoes, but no more tomatoes to harvest. This in front here, we've got anemones. These are a cold weather flower, so I've still got some pretty blooms, but a lot of them are kind of spent. These ones actually look like they went to seed. I don't think I wonder, are those seeds right? Yeah. I think those are anemone seeds. I could be wrong. Can you save those and plant them? I don't think my anemones went to seed last year. Interesting, but I'm seeing lots of tomato blossoms, and it looks like I need to get out here and do some trellising with my red tape. I got this tape gun that tapes up my tomatoes, and I've been loving it. It also looks like my tomatoes are a little hungry, And I think I need to do some pruning because these black beans are kind of growing up the tomatoes. So there's definitely a lot of maintenance that needs to be done out here after a week of not being out here. Here you can see what it looks like from the back end. Oh, we've got a big green tomato right here. Looks like it's got a little crack in it. We got a lot more rain than we normally get. So here is the third bed. This is my Roma tomato bed that is a indeterminate variety. This is a new variety to me. Normally I grow determinate varieties of Romas, but I got a new one and I can tell that I need to do some pruning. I need to trellis these up. Here you can see this tomato branch doesn't look super healthy, so I'll get all that off, but that is super exciting. Now, one thing to note, this is a indeterminate variety, which means that we are going to get tomatoes throughout the growing season on these plants. Normally when I grow Romas in the past, I've grown about 22 determinate varieties of Romas, which are the type of Romas that are in that first bed. And I usually get 2 big flushes within about a week apart of each other. So I don't have to freeze the tomatoes because I can just keep them inside, hold off, and I can do 2 big canning processing days and not have to freeze the tomatoes. With these plants are not gonna come in all at one time. They're gonna slowly roll in. And I do not like doing lots and lots and lots of little tiny food processing days. I wanna do 1 or 2 huge canning days, especially tomatoes. So I think this year I'm gonna have to freeze all my tomatoes as they come in. And at the very end of garden season, I will do a big tomato processing day. So something a little different because I'm growing a different variety of tomato. Look at this, and look what I just found. We've got another zucchini that probably could have been harvested about 5 days ago, but I was not here to harvest it. I'm gonna put that right in here. Okay, so now we've got in this bed in front, this is a new variety of green bean to me, and we've got some flowers, but I do not see any, oh, nope, I don't see any baby green beans. So probably in about a week to 2, we will have our first set of green beans. Over here, I can tell these pepper plants are hungry for some fertilizer. So we have lots of baby peppers, but these plants are hungry. So I will come out here and feed all of these plants this afternoon. And this is a new variety of drying bean to me, and I don't see any flowers on these yet, but soon we will have flowers on these beans. In this bed, we have onions along the edge. These are onions I started from seed, and they are starting to bulb up as well, which is a good sign. So now we're gonna head down here. This bed mirrors the last bed we were in that had anemones. So anemones in front, which are still producing. These ones are beautiful. I could bring these inside this afternoon. We have some Chinese white pumpkins here, which are starting to flower. So maybe we'll get some baby pumpkins here. I've got more tomatoes along this back edge, which are looking pretty good. Bush bean, black beans in here, which are looking very good. And I can see there is a nasty weed. This is a grass that I do not want taking over this bed. So I'm gonna pull that right now because that's the last thing I want taking over. These tomatoes have green tomatoes on them, but I'm gonna go ahead and feed them as well because they're looking like they're a little hungry. I'm just gonna set this here for now and I will deal with that later. So that bed is looking beautiful. I'm very excited about it. This anemone is looking perfect. I could go ahead and pick that today. Some more little pumpkins over here that I don't see any flowers yet. And then over here, this bed, I don't know about this bed. So this here is a pumpkin. That's a pumpkin. Back here we have black beans, which are starting to take off, which is exciting. Right here, I think this is a flop. These are peanuts. And the ones that didn't die, it looks like something's been nibbling on them. They have not really grown. So I am considering pulling these out and planting something new here because they are on the struggle bus. Now these look great over here. These are some carrots. Does look like something's been nibbling on the top of them actually, which is a little frustrating. We do have lots and lots of bunnies that live over here, and they may have snacked on some of my carrot tops. Over here, we have pumpkins, and then this is a little dahlia that was growing as a volunteer in the gravel that I dug up and I planted here. So we will see if we get blooms. It looks like we're gonna get blooms off of this dahlia plant. So this bed is, I don't know, it needs a little attention. The sun is starting to come up. So we have, I guess I didn't show you one thing in this bed here. Here is another succession of lettuce that is looking pretty good. So that's the top row. Now we're gonna come down here to this second row. We've got some pumpkins. These are Jacoby little orange pumpkins for decoration. I've got tons of Snapdragons. This is the Costa mix. I need to get out here and harvest a bunch for some bouquets. I need to just kind of clean up this bed. We have lots of lettuce in here. This is the lettuce we've been eating on. This still looks beautiful. I'm gonna harvest a ton of this today. That's romaine in between. And then some of it's starting to bolt, so I'll probably pull it. So the lettuce that's not bolting, I'm gonna harvest, put in the fridge. This is questionable. You can see it's starting to want to bolt, so I'll taste it. Oh. That's not yummy. Okay, so that's not good. So that I'll pull because it's already starting to get a little bitter. Let's try this romaine. Super sweet. So that's what I'll harvest for our lettuce for the week. This pot is looking beautiful. This is Cosmos and some nasturtiums that don't look very good. So I might pull that because it's already going to seed and just let the Cosmos take over. It does look like I need to do some deadheading in here, but that is exactly what I wanted. One big pot of Cosmos. The eucalyptus looks really good. One chore I need to do this week is get out here and stake this up so that it's not gonna grow continuously over the growing season flat like that. I could start harvesting off that. It looks like I need to get out here and do some weed killer. I have not done that in probably 3 weeks. And I try to get out here at least every 2 to kill the weeds that grow on these gravel paths. So this bed does need some maintenance. The biggest thing is I need to come harvest a huge bouquet of Snapdragons and then clean up the lettuce. Now I grew the mix called, I actually don't remember the name of the mix, but it does look like it has this light pink Snapdragon, a white Snapdragon, a yellow Snapdragon, and then what I like the best is this beautiful deep pink Snapdragon. Oh, look at that. You see that? On the end of this Snapdragon bed, we have more of these orange tomatoes. Awesome. So from there, we're gonna come around here. We've got more tomatoes. These tomatoes were damaged quite heavily by a flea beetle. I had never had that in my garden before, and it was really gross, and I treated it, and they're looking a lot better, but they definitely are a little stunted. We've had a very, very mild spring, so everything to me feels, when it comes to tomatoes, seems a little bit delayed. This is the same bed, and what I mean is normally I would expect my tomatoes to be a little bit bigger and more lush. These ones I understand why, because they were damaged by pests, but even those ones I feel like are a little bit delayed what they normally are, and I think that'll be okay because we're starting to get into that true summer weather here now. Now this is an onion bed. I planted years ago, 2 years ago, calendula flowers. I have never had to plant calendula flowers again because they self-seed themselves. So I'm just letting the calendula grow in between my onion bed. I have carrots between my onions, And this bed is looking really, really nice. This bed is the bed that I already completely harvested everything out of once, and I'm starting to plant the next thing. So here I have green beans. This is the second succession of green beans. So my goal is when that patch of green beans is done for the season, this one is going to take over. This was an entire bed of garlic. Just a second, I need to tell Tibro, excuse me. Tibro, come here. Okay, no barking, please. Thank you, Dakota. Okay, so back to this bed. This was a garlic bed, and I harvested all the garlic. When I show you the chicks, I'm going to show you what the garlic looks like. And this week we will, oh, there's a hummingbird. Do you see it? Right there on that trellis. We get lots and lots of hummingbirds this time of year, and they spend most of their time up on the patio. They really, really enjoy the flowers that I have in the green stalks. And then I have probably 40, what are they called? Dahlia plants up in my main landscaping, and they love those as well. But this was my garden bed, and it got hit really hard with 2 different types of fungus this year. I think the majority of the garlic is gonna be fine. We're gonna be able to eat it, but I harvested it about 3 weeks earlier than I normally do. And I still have this landscape fabric down. So this week I am going to pull this up. These are volunteer potatoes in here. I don't know if I'm gonna leave them or dig them up, but I am going to do more planting. I'm probably gonna do another succession of green beans. I might do 1 or 2 zucchinis. I'm gonna do more lettuce, and I'm probably gonna do more carrots. Last year, I planted carrots after. Dakota, sweetheart, can you get out of the garden bed, please? Thank you. Last year, I planted, oh my goodness, I see something. We'll get to it when we get to it. Last year, I planted carrots after my garlic was harvested, and it did so well. I was able to harvest those carrots all winter long. Now, we didn't have a crazy, crazy cold winter. We had a couple, 5 or 6 days of snow, but we didn't have ice storms, and the carrots were amazing to be able to harvest all winter long. So I want to do that again. So probably this week, I'm going to plant carrots. From the garlic bed, we have this potato bed, and it's looking fantastic. It looks like it already flowered, which means now it's starting to produce tubers. I have onions in here. I read that onions are a good companion plant to potatoes, but maybe you needed to plant them way earlier than I did, because I planted the onions the same day I planted the potatoes. And you can see there's onions growing in here, but I can't imagine they're getting enough sun. So that might be an experiment that is just a one and done type thing, but time will tell. Once these potatoes start dying back, we will harvest them. This variety of potato is russet. Now here, this is exciting. This is a runner bean, and it's starting to grow up this vine. It's definitely getting a little shaded out from the potatoes, but hopefully they will be able to, once they start growing up this trellis, get a little bit more sun. My goal is to have this trellis completely covered. And these nasturtiums are starting to grow up this vine. This is the trailing nasturtium variety that can get 72 inches tall. It's trailing down here. And I think this is what I on accident planted in my green stalk, which is not great for a green stalk like this. I'm gonna have to come out here and train these. I want the nasturtiums to be on the outside, and then I have more pole beans here that I want to grow up. So that's looking pretty decent at this point. Now this bed is Snapdragons mostly. This is the Ponomac mix. This is one of my favorite Snapdragon mixes because I love this purple. I absolutely love this orange color and this pink color. I absolutely love. This deep maroon I think is pretty, but I don't think it matches the orange, pinks, and purples as much, but I still love it. But you can see I need to get out here and do a little bit of maintenance, which is totally to be expected. And I also need to do some major harvesting for some beautiful bouquets. I also planted in here parsley. So we're actually getting to the point where I'll be able to harvest some of this parsley. I started this from seed, so it took a while to start growing. I have some volunteer zinnias in here. This was a zinnia bed last year, and I am letting the zinnias just kind of do their thing. And it looks like I have one zucchini here. This could probably go for another day or two, but I'm gonna go ahead and harvest this right now. Now, one thing I did not do, which I probably should do next year, is actually support my Snapdragons. You can buy a netting to support Snapdragons, and I've never done that before, but some of them are starting to fall over, and I think it could benefit from support. Like this plant. Oh no. Oh my goodness. We already have disease on some of these. Shoot. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get out here and pull some of these plants because that's a disease. That was what was on my, darn it. Shoot, that's what was on my garlic. You can see how beautiful these are. That is a fungal disease. It's a kind of rust. And I was worried that I was gonna get that again. So I planted all my Snapdragons a lot farther apart this year, thinking that maybe that would deter it. But I'm wondering if maybe if it's like in my garden and settled in, if that's gonna be a thing that I'm gonna struggle with Snapdragons year after year. Shoot. I don't know if it's these varieties. When I've just grown varieties that are not hybrids, I've never had this problem on them. These are a hybrid variety. Maybe they're more susceptible, I don't know, but I'm gonna pull those plants today. There's still gonna be lots of time to harvest lots of flowers, but I'm just a little disappointed that I'm already this early on seeing disease. Here is another Cosmo pot, and I'm really liking it. I do think I'm gonna pull these nasturtiums because they're not looking very good, but the Cosmos look great. I'm gonna do some deadheading, and then they will just keep producing hopefully all year long. Down here, we have a Chinese white pumpkin, which hopefully will produce lots of little baby pumpkins for me. Back here, we have more of the rattlesnake pinto bean varieties. This is a high crystal pepper. We have some Oklahoma pink zinnias, which are super, super cute. This is the first time I've grown the Oklahoma variety of zinnias, and I'm loving them. We have Sugar Rush peach peppers. My peppers plants need nutrients. They're not looking super, super great. They're producing, look at this, these are all cayenne peppers, lots and lots of peppers on these plants. But I'm really loving these Oklahoma pink zinnias. These are beautiful. We have, oh, our first baby pumpkin right there. This is another Chinese white pumpkin, I believe. There's two of them. Look at that, how cute. Oh, well, that tag says honey nut, but that's definitely not a honey nut. So we'll see. These are starting to vine up, which is great. I'm really excited about some things, but man, I'm really disappointed about finding that fungus on my Snapdragons. Now from this bed, we're coming over here to a pumpkin bed. And this variety of Snapdragon is called Orange Wonder, I believe. I got this seed from my gardener, and I've been growing this in my garden for years, and it's never experienced that rust before. And that's why I'm thinking maybe the hybrids are more likely to get that rust versus this variety. Maybe I just grow this variety in my garden. I don't know, because I don't see any signs of disease on this one. This is in a pot too, but we'll see. Maybe Snapdragons, I grow less quantity in pots in the future. But this bed is a fun bed. This is one of my favorite beds. We've got a pumpkin here. Our first little pumpkin, or not our first, but a pumpkin. And we've got a whole bed of pumpkins. My goal for this bed is for it to completely trail out of this bed. We've got more little pumpkins in there. We've got a little pumpkin right there. You can see we're starting to get some vining, which is what I like. And then in here, I planted, this is Bennery's giant zinnia, and we're starting to get some of our first ones. This is the white one. I don't think this is fully opened up yet, I wouldn't think. But I'm starting to get the Bennery's giant zinnias, getting some blooms on them. This one is super, super wiggly. So you know a zinnia is ready to harvest when you wiggle them and they don't flop over like that. So those are not ready to harvest. Oh, we got more pumpkins over here. And we've got a female flower right there. So this pumpkin bed is doing really well. Oh my goodness, okay. This bed is looking like we're gonna be able to harvest a ton of sugar snap peas, and we're gonna eat a lot of these this week. This was a new variety of sugar snap peas for me, and it got about this tall. We had 3 days of rain and wind. All of the sugar snap peas that are all now kind of trailed back this way flopped over onto these peppers. I propped them up and I was thinking that maybe they would not keep producing, but not only are they producing and we're gonna have a ton of sugar snap peas for dinner this week, but they're still producing flowers, so that's really good. So I'll harvest those today. Look at all of them. Hopefully this is not too bitter. Super sweet, so sweet. So I'll harvest all these today and we'll eat these this week. On the end of this bed, I put some more pumpkins that are starting to trail out. This variety is another Chinese white pumpkin and it's looking beautiful. And in the middle of the bed, we have yellow monster peppers and we're starting to get some peppers on here. This plant does not look very good. That looks, I don't know, like it's gonna make it. We got lots of peppers on here, which is exciting. More lettuce. These are ranunculus that were in the front here. These are done. These did have some beautiful blooms on them, but they are a cold weather flower, so they are done for the season. Lots of peppers in here. Over here, we are starting to get lots of little baby pumpkins I can see. The vines are trailing out. Here is a pumpkin that got properly pollinated. Here is a pumpkin that got properly pollinated, so that's gonna grow into a pumpkin. This one did not get pollinated. You can see how it shriveled up. That's okay, that happens. Look at that. We have a pumpkin here, 2 pumpkins there that look properly pollinated. We have a couple pumpkins in here. There's 2 of them. 1, 2. We have volunteer calendula. These are some baby dahlias that I missed. This was a dahlia bed last year. There's a dahlia right there, dahlia right there. Here is another pumpkin vine. Looks like it actually rooted right there. There's another calendula plant. The sun is definitely starting to come out on this edge of the bed. That's why I kind of wanted to get out here super early. Here is more of the Bennery's giant. You can see when I wiggle this, the stem stays upright. These ones I could harvest. Here's another dahlia that I must have missed in this bed last year. There's a couple more pumpkins that were properly pollinated, so that's exciting. So over here, we have more of the orange. These are Orange Wonder Snapdragons. These look really good. I'm not seeing, oh, is that disease on there right there? Nope, no disease on there. We have some, these are snow pepper, not peppers. These are, what are these called? They're the flat sweet pea, not sweet pea. Sweet peas are toxic. They're a flower. Sugar pea. I can't remember what these are called. But I had them planted all along the edge. And the bunnies have eaten them down so many times. I didn't think I would get any of them, but it looks like we're gonna get a handful right there. This is another pepper bed. This is an Anaheim pepper bed, and I'm seeing lots of peppers here, but I'm also seeing blossoms drop, which is not good. We have some zinnias. These are looking beautiful. This is another Oklahoma variety of zinnia, which is a smaller variety. These are serrano peppers. Peppers I've always had a hard time with. My peppers and my green stalks are looking better than my peppers in my beds. I wonder if I could be overwatering these pepper plants. I increased the time on how much I was watering, and I have not decreased it yet. And I think that's what caused the disease in my garlic. And that might be what's giving my peppers a little bit of a hard time. Peppers don't like tons and tons of water. So I'm gonna have to talk to Josh and ask him to reduce how much water I'm giving each of these beds. From that pepper bed down here, this is a branching sunflower. This is a new variety to me. And I'm really excited about this because I'm seeing tons and tons of blooms on here. These are Orange Wonder Snapdragons, and they are looking fantastic. I'm not seeing any disease in here. We have Kale in here, lots of Snapdragons, more zinnias that are looking really, really nice. And then in here we have, these are melons that are starting to grow that I started from seed. And they're looking pretty good, actually. I think what I'm gonna do is fertilize these when I fertilize everything. This bed, or I shouldn't say bed, this pot I planted with zinnia seeds, and I reused some soil that was in a green stalk that had tarragon in it. And it looks like some of those tarragon roots must have survived, because I'm getting tarragon growing in here. And then it looks like there might have been some nasturtium seeds in there, because I didn't plant nasturtiums in here, and I'm starting to get a couple nasturtium plants. So that's gonna be fun. I just wanted to see what would happen if I planted zinnias from seed in a pot. So that's a new little experiment to me. But this is looking beautiful. Lots of beautiful Snapdragons. And I'm not seeing any disease on these, I don't think. No. I'm thinking next year I will not do an entire Snapdragon bed like I've done the last 2 years, and I've had 2 beds. I think they need just a few plants here and there, and that should still give me plenty of Snapdragons. I'm getting hundreds of stems of Snapdragons. I don't need that many, I just like them. And so maybe to reduce the amount of disease I have in my garden when it comes to these beautiful flowers, because this is actually my favorite color of Snapdragon. Maybe I just plant this and a purple variety, and I just have a few in some beds and call that good, because that's still plenty of stems for me to make beautiful bouquets to bring inside. Now this is beautiful. Look at these flowers. But look how beautiful those orange flowers are. We're already getting growth up to here. So I'm hoping that this will just fill out this arch. These beans are supposed to get, I have the same thing right here, 15 feet tall. So they should hopefully fill out this arch. We already have beans up to there. So that's really exciting. Not only are these supposed to be delicious, but they also have a beautiful, beautiful flower. Now, one thing that is super encouraging is this bed. I was so worried about whether or not I was gonna get a big bed of zinnias, because these zinnias looked terrible a couple weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago, I thought I need to start over with these zinnias, but I have been feeding them, obviously not since we left, but they are starting to produce zinnias, and I am going to have a zinnia bed here. Look at this orange color. This is beautiful. And when I go like, oh, that's pretty close. Maybe that needs another day before I harvest it. I'm not normally an orange fan when it comes to like decorating or clothes, but when it comes to flowers, I don't know why, but I love orange and I love pink. If there's one thing that gardening has taught me, is there's always a mixture every single year of successes and failures. One thing I like to do is plant a lot, and so that I know some stuff will fail, I know some stuff will succeed, and the more you plant, the more likely that you will have successes and not just failures. So this bed I thought was gonna be a flop, but it's looking really, really good. So I'm really, really excited about this. And on the end of this bed, I planted 2 little pumpkin plants. Well, they were little, but now they're getting big. And one thing about pumpkins is I do have to train them, because I want this pumpkin plant to grow out this bed, just like that pumpkin plant is growing out that bed up there. So this year I definitely planted pumpkins a lot more places than just in my 2 pumpkin beds. And then over here, this bed is potatoes. This bed, I think, has 4 varieties of potatoes in it. On this end, I believe there's 2 varieties of fingerling potatoes. And then on this bed, or this end of the bed, I believe there's 2 varieties of like a yellow potato. One being a Yukon Gold and one being another variety. Now this might look like something bad is happening, but this is normal. When potatoes are ready to harvest, you know they're ready to harvest because they have died back. So they flower. This was a flower. At one point, it's lost its petals. It's starting to die back, which means shortly we will be harvesting these potatoes. Each potato variety takes a different amount of time to grow and die back. So even though these ones are not dying yet, that's okay that that one is, because that is a different variety of potato down there. So hopefully we will be having potatoes soon. I am having a huge dinner party. My sister's gonna be coming in town, and I'm having all my siblings and all their kids over and my parents. And I think there's gonna be like 20 of us here. We're gonna have a huge party out on the lawn. And one of the dishes I would like to serve is potatoes. And it would be pretty cool if I could harvest my very own potatoes. This is so exciting. I am so excited to show you this. From the potato bed, we have this bed here. On the end, I have a zucchini plant there, which is not producing any zucchinis. I see some flowers, but no zucchini. This is a pumpkin. I had 2 zucchini plants here, but one of them died, so I just put in another pumpkin here. I put in a random zinnia here. Oh, there's a bumblebee in that flower, pollinating that flower. It just flew off, but that is a male flower, so I don't see any female flowers on this plant yet. So hopefully soon we'll be having zucchini. But the majority of this bed from here over are dahlia plants. These are all the dahlias that I started from seed, from the seed that I had saved, from the dahlias that I grew last year. These are all gonna look very, very different. They cross-pollinated with all the different varieties of dahlias that I have, and I cannot wait. I do see some aphids on here. I don't know why, but aphids love dahlias, so I'm gonna treat that with soapy water. I just spray soap and water on here, and then I wash it off with water, and that will take care of that. I see way more aphids on this one, so I need to go ahead and treat that. No big deal. But this is something that I'm really excited about because I saved these seeds, and it's the first time I've ever grown this many things from seed that I had saved, other than the black beans. Tibro! My neighbors are coming and going right now, and so Tibro is saying good morning to them. Thank you for being patient with the dogs. They really wanted to come out here with me this morning, and I enjoy having them out here. So here's another little bloom here. So when you grow dahlias from seed, you never know what you're gonna get because they cross-pollinate. Typically when people grow dahlias, they buy tubers because these plants will produce tubers in the ground. And when you buy a tuber, it is a copy of its mother plant, so you know exactly what it's gonna look like. So if I dig this up and I break the tubers apart and I grow those, they will look exactly like this flower here. But when you grow them from seed, because they cross-pollinate, you really don't know what they're gonna look like. So this is gonna be so fun to watch all of these dahlias bloom. And it's been so fun because I grew so many dahlias last year, I was able to dig up a bunch of the tubers and share a ton of them with my sister and my parents, and they've texted me pictures of what they look like, and it's so fun. And I've been able to dig these up and put them in my landscape. So I have so many dahlias. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dahlia flower stems because I was able to do that. And it is so much more affordable, I'm gonna get in the shade over here, to start dahlias from seed than to buy tubers. And I enjoy the kind of mystery of watching them like produce the buds and seeing what they look like. Now there are some dahlias that I have in my landscape that are not my favorite color combination, but I have some that are absolutely beautiful. And so it's been fun to just watch them grow. And especially the ones that I started from seed that I saved, that is super, super fun to me. Next spring, I will dig all of these up and put them in my landscape. I put these dahlias here because I wanted to watch them grow, and I wanted to be able to keep track of the ones that I started from seed and see what they produced. So that's really, really fun. Now this I think is gonna be another success right here. We've got another pole bean variety, which I don't remember the name, so I'll put the name right here. And it's all the way up here, and it's supposed to get 15 feet tall. So hopefully we will have a beautiful arch of these beans. This one is all the way up to there. So hopefully we will have a beautiful arch. Now these produce a beautiful pink flower. Oh, you know what these are? I believe these are scarlet runner beans. Yes, these are what I grew last year, I believe. They produce a beautiful pink flower, which is really, really fun. So the last bed in this garden, and then we'll go look at some other things on the property, is this bed. And the most prolific thing in here is kale. So I should harvest some of this today and give to the chickens. The chicks will actually eat the kale too. My neighbor who took care of our chicks while we were gone has a garden, and she was feeding the chicks produce out of her garden. And she was sending me videos, which I thought was absolutely precious and cute. This bed is kind of a hodgepodge. There are so many volunteer potatoes. I had potatoes in this bed, not last year, but the year before. And for some reason, the majority of this bed is potatoes. And so they just started growing and growing so fast that I've just let them grow. So we have a lot of potatoes this year, which is good because I'm actually liking potatoes more than I've ever liked before. I did put in here a zucchini plant, which is getting a little bit outcompeted. And then there's another zucchini plant here, which looks like that one actually got pollinated. This zucchini did not get pollinated. So this, let me show you. This right here is a male flower because you can see it just has a skinny stem and a flower on it. This right here is going to be a female flower because it has a baby zucchini on it and a flower. And if this gets properly pollinated, this will turn into a zucchini. I also have more of these Orange Wonder Snapdragons in here, and these ones look super healthy. I'm not seeing any signs of disease, even though some of them are way overcrowded. I think it helps having multiple different types of crops as opposed to like up there where I have a monocrop almost. I mean, there are other things in that bed other than just Snapdragons, but this is clearly a big hodgepodge of things. I think that helps with disease. And then I have a ton of these. These are, I think, the Oklahoma variety of zinnias. And I think this is so cute with the kale, the potatoes, the zinnias, the snapdragons, and my squash in here. One thing I have not been able to grow in my garden very well the last 2 years are cucumbers. Here's a cucumber. That's a female cucumber right there. So maybe this will start growing. I think it needs fertilizer. Maybe the potting mix I put in these wasn't very great. One of them over here already died. One of them, oh no, that's still alive. But these plants don't look super good. These nasturtiums don't look very good either, so I think I'm gonna pull these today and give this pot some fertilizer. So that is overall the main garden. I am super excited about it. We got some beautiful harvest today. I think zucchini bread is going to be in our future. I need to come out here and harvest all of those sugar snap peas. That's gonna be quite a project, or not quite a project, but it's probably gonna take me about 20 minutes. And I need to harvest more lettuce. I am this week, I think, gonna continue on, I'm calling it a pantry challenge because I don't know what else to call it, but basically trying not to go to the grocery store. Or maybe should the challenge be like eat local? I don't know. I don't know what the challenge is. But basically I want to try not to buy a bunch of produce at the grocery store and focus on what I already have coming out of my garden. Hopefully in about a week or two, we will be not only getting tomatoes, zucchini regularly, but also green beans will be another thing that we'll be able to start harvesting. And some of the peppers I think I'm gonna be able to start harvesting. I wanna show you what's happening with some of our fruit that we have growing on the homestead. I wanna give you an update on what Josh has been doing with the new chicken coop. And of course, I wanna show you what the chicks are looking like. Come on, Dakota. First off, these blueberry plants that the previous owner planted are some of the most amazing blueberry plants ever. So today I'm going to come out and harvest a ton of these. Yesterday, we were snacking on them after dinner, which is one of my family's favorite things to do, is to come out after dinner and snack on fresh fruit out of the garden. I'm so grateful that these plants were planted by the previous owner because they are incredible. I mean, look at this. Now, I need to come out here and weed whack around these plants because look at the grass, but look at these blueberries. Dakota, go back in with your brother. Go. I don't know what I was thinking letting Tibro out with me. I was like, yeah, come follow me out here. He will run off. Dakota won't run off, but Tibro will. But look at these blueberries. So those, I'm gonna get a ton of them today, which will be absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at them. Well, those I probably could have left on for another day or two. Those were a little bit sour, but still very, very good. Now, one thing that's super cool, this is the first year we've actually been able to harvest raspberries off these plants. They're so good. We started harvesting these before we left for Montana, and we have been able to come out here for the last 2 days and harvest raspberries, and they're delicious. Normally the deer get them before we can. Yesterday there was a deer right there, and they don't seem to be bothering these raspberry plants this year. So good. An update on the bees is kind of the same. This hive has doubled or tripled in size. This hive is growing very, very slow. And so Josh has not put the next box on top of this one yet because you need it to fill out so much before you put that on. You want to make sure they fill that out before you start filling the top. So he has not looked in this since we've been back. He opened both of these hives right before we left. So probably the next couple days, he's going to get in here, open this one, and see if he needs to put the top on top. But basically, since we got these bees, this hive has been significantly stronger and more robust than this hive. And that just makes me a little worried that maybe this one won't make it over winter. I think Josh was going to start supplementing their feed. They have been eating the honey that was left behind from the hives that didn't make it last winter. So they've definitely been supplemented with real honey, but he is going to look more into actually supplementing their feed to see if he can get this hive a little bit more robust. The fruit trees are looking beautiful. Now, I did not treat these, so they might have some worm damage, but I am almost out of applesauce. I mean, look at these beautiful apples. They're so, so pretty. But I think we will probably, with all the fruit that is on all of these trees, we will, I'm sure, get a harvest enough to put up applesauce and sliced apples for crisps and pies. I was not able to put up any applesauce or any apple products last year, so this year I think we're definitely gonna be able to do that. These plums are looking good. Some of them look like maybe they have a little damage on them, but overall, I think we will get some plums. They're looking really, really good, actually. There's so many plums on this tree, it's actually weighing down the branches. I don't really know that much about fruit trees. I know sometimes you're supposed to prune off some of the fruit because there can be too much fruit. This apple tree looks really nice. Look at these. They're just like perfect little apples. Some of them didn't get pollinated, so this is what an apple looks like that didn't get properly pollinated, and those are two perfectly pollinated apples. So just like with gardening, fruit trees, some years you get some years you don't. Dakota, come on, we're gonna go look at the chicks, or the chicken coop. He is my little shadow. It is so nice to have a little pup that doesn't run off. Tibro would be gone. He's my little shadow, which is what I've always wanted in a little pup. And I can give him a exciting update. I'm pretty sure he is 100% potty trained at this point. So that is very good. A bunny's running. Oh, he's gonna chase the bunny. On this side of our house, right behind the chicken coop, we have this little like landscaped area, and it needed a little more color. So I put in here some dahlias that I transplanted out of the garden beds last year. And they're starting to bloom, which is fun. This is a white one. Next spring, I will probably take those dahlias that are in my garden bed and put a bunch more in here. But for now, those dahlias are in the garden. And here is the chicken coop update. So not much has happened, obviously, in the last week because we have been out of town, but it is Monday and Josh is gonna come out here and start working on it this week. It is, I don't know, I can't say, I was gonna say a percentage of how much it's framed in, but I don't know because I don't know much about building. But we've got the nesting boxes and part of the roof on. Hi, girls. And the windows have come because there's gonna be, I think, 4 windows in it. Hey, girls. And I'm excited for them to have a new chicken coop in the next couple months. But I wanted to show you this ridge here. These are blueberries that we had put in. And we are starting to get some blueberries on them. I don't know if these are totally ripe yet. That one looks ripe. Very good. Not as good as the ones that the previous owner planted, but very good. For Mother's Day, Josh got me 3 new blueberry plants, one there, there, and there. And you can see the leaves are red, and I don't think they're gonna survive. They are irrigated, I fertilized them, but, oh, this one actually has 2 little berries on it. I actually am gonna pull those because it doesn't need to try to work on producing fruit. It just needs to work on surviving. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it some more fertilizer, and I hope that these survive. Like, that died. I don't know, we'll see. But these blueberry plants that we put in 2 years ago are looking great. And this is so funny. This is a volunteer potato. I have no idea how a volunteer potato ended up next to the blueberry plants, but they did. And I can say, I think this is gonna be a good blueberry year. We might even get enough blueberries to freeze. Last year, we just got blueberries to eat, which I am happy to get blueberries just to eat. But I would love to be able to also freeze some for winter. I'm walking up to the chicks to show you the chicks, and look at what I found. This is a Paul Robeson tomato. This one I'm gonna harvest too because it's cracked. But that is technically our first slicing tomato. I guess I should look from both sides of these tomato plants. Okay, there's nothing else on these ones, but I almost missed these. Normally, we don't start harvesting lots of big slicing tomatoes until August. So our climate is a lot different than lots of your guys' climates. I see many of you who are in different parts of the country who are already being inundated with tomatoes. We are slow to get to summer. Our springs are generally 60 to 70, and we just don't get those 80-degree days. Tomatoes like about 80. They don't like super hot. They're too hot, they'll drop their blossoms. But we're just so slow. So that's why I don't usually start canning tomatoes until September. And I know that some of you guys are canning tomatoes late July, August. That's just not me, because we are slow to get to those summer weather. Now let's go look at the baby chicks. But before we go look at the baby chicks, I want to show you these pepper plants. After looking at the pepper plants that are in my garden, I'm really happy I have this entire green stalk with just peppers, because they look so much healthier than my pepper plants in my garden. So maybe in the future, I only grow peppers in green stalks. I don't know. This is the first year I am doing an exclusively pepper plant green stalk, and the pepper plants definitely look better in that green stalk than the pepper plants in this green stalk, because I think they're being outcompeted by the nasturtiums, which I like the nasturtiums up here because it draws in the hummingbirds, but I also want peppers. Now this pepper plant in here actually is doing really well. It has a ton of cayenne peppers on it, but in general, these pepper plants looked better going into the green stalks than these ones, but these ones are looking better at this point now. One reason I like trying new things when it comes to gardening is you never know what the best method or your new favorite thing is going to be. This might be my new favorite. I think I'm going to start my own hanging baskets next year because it's more than half the cost, and I think they look just as good, and I can choose the colors 100% if I start my own. So now let's go look at the baby chicks. So this is what they're looking like. They have grown so much in the last week. They're almost fully feathered out, and they definitely are outgrowing their brooder. This waterer, let me tell you, it was worth every penny. It wasn't very expensive, but it has been so nice not having to clean their water at this stage, I probably would have had to clean it 5 or 6 times a day. They've gone through 2 bags of chick food. And let me see, they can jump out. I no longer keep the heater on. In here, it's plenty warm. So that's just basically like a little shelter at this point. I think they like to roost on it because it's messy and I have to clean it regularly. They have chick food here, and they have chick grit now because they are old enough, excuse me, to have chick grit. Chickens don't have teeth, so the way that they chew their food is in their gizzard. They store little pebbles, and that's what crushes the food as it goes down their throat. But so pretty. So still only 3 of them have names. This one right here is Brownie, her. Aspen is the big one right there, the white one. And then the one right behind the feeder, her name is Peanut. Josh wanted to call this one Duckling, and I'm totally okay with that. I just have to ask him for sure if that's the name he wants for her. This week, I'm gonna put the lid on it because they will jump out. I am going to have to get a second brooder, or a brooder that is twice the size. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do, because they have definitely outgrown this brooder. I might just go get a second one of these and a second waterer and a second feeder and call that good, and then I'll put a cardboard box so they have a little shelter. All I know is that they need a little bit more space. So that is on today's, or this week, next couple days, hopefully, agenda. And I wanted to show you what the garlic is looking like. So this right here is that same disease that is on my Snapdragons. And I think the garlic is gonna be okay though. Like, I think actually it didn't damage the garlic. I won't know till I cut into it, but I wanted to get this out of the garden because I didn't want that to spread to my Snapdragons, but it already did. So I need to get those Snapdragons out of the garden that have it ASAP. And this week, I'm gonna start cleaning up this garlic. It's dried up really well. And at some point this next couple weeks, I'm gonna process all of this garlic. Normally what I do is I like to keep my garlic fresh, and I use it fresh until winter, and then I notice that it starts to get soft, which means it is time to process it. But because this garlic has struggled with 2 different diseases, this one didn't have it, but this garlic over here had a different disease, not this rust, it was some other fungal disease. I lost half of that garlic. I'm just gonna process it. I will freeze dry it, freeze it, confit it, garlic oil it, do all the things as long as it's okay. I'm not actually sure if it's good until I start breaking it apart and opening up the cloves. I'm hoping it is good and that most of the damage is just on the greenery, not on the actual bulbs. I'm not saving any garlic to plant. I'm gonna start fresh next year, And I just talked to Josh about the watering system. And I think that was our problem, is that I had my irrigation on for way too long every single day. So Josh just reduced the watering to what I did last year. And I think that that's gonna be okay, because I think I just was watering too much, and that's what kind of caused some of these fungal problems. Now the rust, I had that rust problem last year, so I don't know if that's just in my soil or if it's in the surrounding areas, because we have woods, we have hay fields around us. I have no idea where that could come from. It might just be in this area, and that's what's causing it. I didn't have this problem the first 2 years I grew Snapdragons. Wait, this is my 3rd year. So the first year I grew Snapdragons, I didn't have it. Last year I had it, and this year I have it. So I'll have to do some more research. So thank you for being here as we did this early July garden tour. Things are just starting to pick up. I'm really excited about it. We've got baby pumpkins, we got our first tomatoes, we got our first zucchinis. It won't be long before we're in green beans and peppers. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Let me pop some videos you can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I do have this window open for fresh air for the chicks. And I have a fan on in here for some good airflow, but I just turned it off while we were talking. They are doing great. I'm so enjoying them. They are growing like weeds. And I'm excited that this garden season is really underway at this point. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.